Have a nice day.
Welcome to the greatest city on planet Earth. Or at least that's what Hollywood has told me my entire childhood.
We're in New York.
What?
New York.
This is my first time ever in the city, and over the next 3 days, I'm being shown around by an ex-local, Catherine Esquivel.
Hola.
She lived here in the city for 2 years? 2 years?
2 years.
Holy moly.
Best 2 years of my life.
Hey, what the heck?
I loved it so much.
I thought the best years was with me.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And a big thank you to Best Western Hotels and Resorts for sponsoring today's video.
You're still mad at me?
I'm hurt.
Oh, come on.
No, that's
You're the best thing ever.
Cassie's actually telling me that the Brooklyn Bridge here is best seen at night.
Yes, so it's completely different because you have all the lights of the city. It's really stunning.
We're trying to do many things in just 3 days. So with that, number one, the Brooklyn Bridge. All right guys, so we've walked down the bridge. We're now in the financial district and we're going to grab some breakfast. Everything on the menu sounds amazing.
This place is bomb.
No, get out of there. Yours looks like sophisticated and beautiful. Mine looks like a diner style, which I'll always choose that over sophisticated food. Tater tots. This is setting the bar way too high. It's unbelievable.
This is the best avocado toast I had.
If ever you've wanted to immerse yourself in the feeling of being poor, come take a little stroll down Wall Street. Watch people in their $1,000 suits stroll across the street making multi-million-dollar deals while you decide whether to get a hot dog or Starbucks because it's simply too expensive. So as you can see, there's a bit of a line here to come and get a photo at the front of the bowl, but what people don't tell you is there's no line on the other side. Now this is how you skip the line. I can feel the wealth rubbing off on me. This is Oculus. It looks like something straight out of like an Alien vs Predator movie, just landing down in the city. It's beautiful. Let's go check it out. This is freaking amazing. Look at this place. I've seen this place on Instagram before, but this is way more impressive in person. Now, last minute trips like this would simply not be possible if it wasn't for my sponsors, and I wanted to thank Best Western Hotels and Resorts for sponsoring a portion of today's video. And today I want to tell you about Best Western Rewards, their award-winning loyalty program. Best Western Rewards members get the lowest prices possible using bestwestern.com. So why Best Western? Let me tell you. We've got amazing service, a wide variety of amenities. Did I mention most locations have hot breakfast included? And on top of that, you've got beautiful, comfortable, modern rooms. And did I mention free Wi-Fi? With Best Western Rewards, you not only get incredible perks and promotions, but you also save on your travels while earning more points. Yeah, I'm gonna need that back. And lastly guys, it's completely free to join Best Western Rewards, so you can check it out using the link in the description, and you can book now at bestwestern.com with the lowest rates guaranteed. Thank you to the Best Western Hotels and Resorts for sponsoring a portion of this video. Now, let's get back to seeing New York. Oh my god. It's dripping. It's a monster.
Oh my gosh.
I love America.
How do you eat this?
I think this is the best shake I've ever had, guys. It's just perfect, inside out. I hope my mom's not watching this because we just had dessert before dinner.
That's how you're supposed to live life.
This is my first day in New York, but I'm already gonna say it. This must be the most beautiful time to come visit. The fall colors are here. As we're walking, I had to stop because when I look here, it looks like we're in a movie set. Any New York-based TV show could easily be based on this street right here. It's so picturesque. So if you guys are wondering why you watch my channel, it's because I give you those little insider tips that nobody else knows about. This is a little Lost the Blonde Kid in secret. This is the apartment from Friends. Rachel! I love you! I have a crush still. So just here in Greenwich Village, we are at Magnolia Bakery, and this is actually the original bakery. Apparently there's been many more put up through New York as they've gotten crazy popular, but we've come all the way here because we want to experience where it all started. There was no seating inside, but there's a beautiful park bench out here.
Weather is actually really nice right now.
So what is this?
It's a banana pudding.
Okay.
It's very, very popular.
Oh my gosh, this
okay,
is so
give me
good.
some. I haven't tried it yet.
Whoa. You have to do this. 10 out of 10. Alright guys, we've walked over here to Chelsea and we've arrived at Chelsea Market.
It's a big market.
It looks super cool.
It's a big cool market.
Super cool.
Cool.
Look at all these cool pieces. Super
cool.
Little Statue of Liberty. The statue. What's the opposite of liberty?
Prison. Relationships.
Yeah. I could make a whole video on this place, but we're gonna keep it short and sweet. You have to see it for yourself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1,000. We just came up about a story. This is Highline Park. This used to be a railroad, and now it's a park. It's beautiful. One thing I'm noticing about the city here is that there's so many different colors of buildings, styles, textures, and it makes for such like a diversity. When you're looking around, you're always looking at something new. Everything flows together despite being different. Oh yeah, those are some of the old tracks. Good eye. How are we in the city right now? This is insane. This literally looks like something out of the Jetsons. All right guys, it is getting cold, but we're hanging in there, and spirits have never been higher because this place is blowing my freaking little mind. Okay, I won't say little mind, it's blowing my mind. Look at this. Okay guys, so we actually came in about 45 minutes later, which is why the sun has said sayonara. It's free, but you also have to reserve times. So we had to wait till the 5:20 slot. Last one of the tops, a rotten egg. I think what I love most about it is the fact that this building serves absolutely no purpose other than being freaking awesome. Honestly, being down here in the New York subway system, it gives me the feeling of like post-apocalyptic humanity, like having to live below ground after nuclear war. It's kind of a creepy feeling down here.
I love it.
It's kind of cool though.
Yeah, I love it.
We have just taken the metro system all the way here to Williamsburg, and for lack of a better descriptor, it's where the hipsters like to hang out. It's artsy, it's coffee shops, it's bars, craft beers, they love that stuff. And where are we going now?
We're going to have brunch in a place called Girty's.
And we're starving.
And we're starving. So it's a good,
I'm so excited.
good way to start the day.
Yeah. I now belong in Williamsburg. Food has arrived. This is what's just showed up. It is kind of like a bagel with some turkey, some egg, some hot sauce, everything that I love. It's an absolute vibe. And that's super, super good.
Yeah, it's like New York has a million amazing places to eat, and actually you can find good places like this just by reading reviews. That's how I found this place.
I've lost count of how many cool coffee shops we've gone by now. Everyone has their own textures and colors for the exterior of their businesses. Yeah, the streets alone make it worthwhile coming to this neighborhood. It's beautiful.
It is.
I told them we were coming and they shut down the whole block for me. I mean, really appreciate the extra initiative here by the NYPD.
You should tell them.
What?
There was a marathon.
No, there wasn't. They shut down the street for me. So we're here for some cheesecake. Kati says that it's the best. Martha's Country Bakery. Let's try it out. Oh my gosh, it's huge. Guys, what the heck?
That's what I come.
Look at this place. I thought it was hard to choose at Cheesecake Factory. Look at this place.
No, this is another level.
You get first bite. So we ended up going with the apple crumble to split because we're gonna eat dessert basically everywhere.
I love it.
It's so good. Now, some people will call it artist and fleas, but for me, I call it artistes and fleas. It's like a thrift store?
It's a flea market.
Kinda cool. I like it. Everything from wallets to watch bands. It's not that expensive actually. There was nice jewelry, rings, bracelets, ranging from $10 to $30. Very cool boutique feel to it. I love this. There was this one sunglasses guy though. He wouldn't even look at Kati. Kati would try in a different pair and he'd give her like some feedback.
Yeah, he knew.
Oh yeah,
what
the Queen
I was
used to wear that one.
Yeah.
Bon Jovi had that. It's super hot right now. And he wasn't even making eye contact.
And he was wearing these big glasses and he was just like following the music. He was amazing. I loved him.
Just a few blocks away, I'm about to show you a crazy view here from the Brooklyn side of downtown Manhattan. Oh my gosh, this view. This really gives you a feeling of the grandeur of the city, just how massive and widespread it is. It goes all the way 180 degrees with some of the most recognizable, iconic buildings in the world. It's cold.
It's surprising that
there's no one here.
Empty.
It's on my pants. But wow, it's so good. So Cassie says she accidentally bought a full pizza here one time.
An entire one. This
Guys,
is just one slice.
One of 8 pieces. It's so good. It has artichoke in it. Never in my life have I ever had artichoke on my pizza, but this pizza is the real MVP. $6.50.
You can feed your entire family with this.
Another one of Cassie's recommendations. I'm not so sure about this one so far. Marshmallow covered pizza. Okay, it's pretty good. That's pretty good. The energy underground is just like nothing I've ever seen before. Anyways, we just had this weird chocolate marshmallow pizza, and then we had some bomb AF macaroni and cheese. And now I feel a little sick. It's time to get back to home so I can sleep. I'm so jet lagged. I'm getting destroyed.
We've been eating all day. We just need to sleep.
All right, good morning guys. It is our third and technically actually not final day. We do have another half day tomorrow. We've actually switched over to the Best Western premiere here in Herald Square, which is like the center midtown of Manhattan. Yellow cabs as far as you can see. And we're about to have breakfast here in the most American way possible. Ooh, so colorful. We got some chicken and waffles. We've got a diner by the name of TikTok, which by the way, we're both on TikTok. Nice little subtle plug. And we're joined this morning by Brett Conti.
What's up, guys? I'm glad that you got to come to New York City and try a real American dish, because this is what we eat every day for breakfast.
Every morning.
No, we don't.
Kati is like a fake local. He's a real local. He actually lives here. We're gonna start our breakfast here and then move on to the next spot pretty quick.
So this is how you get around like a local.
Right? In Bali, you know, you have the scooters, but in New York City, we have these electric bikes right here.
Looking out for the environment. And this is a serious lock.
Yeah.
Holy.
You need this in New York City. It's literally called the New York City Forget About It lock. You gotta give it a try.
Goodbye, Brett. Item number 3026 on the list of the past 3 days. There's a church. Okay, this has to be one of the most iconic places in New York.
And this, ice skating
in front of Rockefeller Center, which if you don't know where Rockefeller is, it's right there.
Rockefeller.
Right now, we are 67 floors up above New York. The bright side is we've got one of the best views in town. This is the center of Manhattan. The downside is I just lost 80 bucks for the two of us to come up here and see this. I think it's worth it, I think.
I think it's the best view you can get.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
But that over there is the world famous Central Park. You can almost touch it.
Now there is one bright side to paying a lot of money to come up here.
And that is that there's really not that many other people up here. You know, I am of the thought that if you've been to other high points in the world, this one's not gonna blow you away, but the history of Rockefeller is really, really incredible. It was actually built, I believe, during the Great Depression, and this is like one of the foundational buildings to the city. Probably the best view you can get of the city.
Next stop on the list is
Radio City. We saw it, let's go. So after all that walking around, we worked up a bit of an appetite. And what better way to experience New York than being sold an overpriced, mediocre hot dog by an angry New Yorkian. New Yorker? New Yorkian.
He was so angry.
How average. So good though. I have just rented a bike here, and in the city of New York they have what's called a city bike. It's about $3.25 to rent a bike for 30 minutes, which isn't very long. Ketsie's app isn't working. So you can sit in my basket.
No,
it says max 25 pounds. You're around there, right? So here I am in Central Park, walking a bike because only one of us has one, and Ketsie unfortunately can't keep up with my pace. We've got the colors of fall, and right there are some of the tallest buildings in all of New York, just perched right over the park. This is stunning. It's too dark, we only have one bike. We'll come back tomorrow. Energy levels are plummeting.
I know.
So luckily, we have a cure, I think. We're here at this little hidden spot inside of a really popular hotel, and it's called Burger Joint. And it's a little tiny hole in the wall burger spot. A greasy bun wrap and a bag. You know it's real. You know it's gonna be good. Nailed it. That was really good. Fries were a little overcooked.
Yeah, I didn't
Burger.
like fries.
Too slow.
Maybe. Let's pick up some.
So rude. All right, guys, it's day 3, redemption time. We've come back here to Central Park with some midday sun, and Brett is back with us.
Yeah, I'm the tour guide for today.
Her. Let's do this.
Single file line. Tour is about to start. Let's go.
Safety first, everyone. So we just finished up in Central Park. We took the subway here and we've come over to East Village because, as you guys know, New York is all about sharing the biggest, the most over the top, the best. And with that, we found a spot on Instagram that really fits that description. What are we doing right now?
We're gonna eat 21 scoops of ice cream. I'm gonna
You're gonna eat it all?
I'm gonna try.
What's the most you've ever stacked on one cone?
30.
30?
Yeah.
30.
All right, you guys get the 21, I'll get the 31.
Yeah, you man up. Has anyone actually finished the 21 scooper on their own?
Yeah, a good handful of people actually finished. It's only one scoop.
What's the PB, your personal best?
7.
The final scoop of the 21 scoop ice cream.
Woo!
There it is!
Whoa.
Ready?
Yes.
There you go. It's heavy, right?
Yes, it's so heavy. Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. Okay, bye guys. See ya.
Not too fast, come back. Just like the Titanic, all good things must crash. A lot of time when you see these cool Instagram style food shops, they usually don't taste that good, but this ice cream is for real delicious, so creamy. I mean, I think that's what ice cream is.
Ready?
You only have one shot.
I only need one.
There's no retakes in life. Oh! The owner of the stuffed ice cream, Alan, actually recommended his favorite pizza spot, Village Square Pizza. So hopefully this pizza place lives up to Alan's promises.
You're gonna know it's gonna be good when you're already on the wall.
The pizzas are cut into squares, therefore enhancing the flavor. It's all about the geometry. It lives up to the hype. Super, super delicious.
And if you come, you have to get the honey spicy sauce on your pizza. That's like what made this so much better.
So freaking good. My stomach is killing me. I've eaten too much. And now my heart hurts because it's time to say goodbye. That was a pretty good transition.
That was a really good transition. My heart hurts too. It was a great time hanging with you guys. I'll see you all in Asia though.
In Asia, he's coming to Bali, so next time we're gonna show you around our side of the woods.
Yes,
all right,
please
dude.
do. Bye, man. Bye.
Back onto the metro we go. We've got one more stop we're gonna show you. The most hectic side of New York. Any guesses?
Somewhere crazy, lots of lights, a lot of people.
Guys, this seems like a good time to end the video here. We've seen so many things in 3 days, and I hope this helped you with your upcoming.
Good evening, everybody. As you've seen by now, this isn't a normal convention. It's not a normal time. So tonight, I want to talk as plainly as I can about the stakes in this election. Because what we do these next 76 days will echo through generations to come. I'm in Philadelphia, where our Constitution was drafted and signed. It wasn't a perfect document. It allowed for the inhumanity of slavery and failed to guarantee women, and even men who didn't own property, the right to participate in the political process. But embedded in this document was a North Star that would guide future generations. A system of representative government, a democracy through which we could better realize our highest ideals. Through civil war and bitter struggles, we improved this Constitution to include the voices of those who'd once been left out. And gradually, we made this country more just and more equal and more free. The one constitutional office elected by all of the people is the presidency. So at a minimum, we should expect a president to feel a sense of responsibility for the safety and welfare of all 330 million of us, regardless of what we look like, how we worship, who we love, how much money we have, or who we voted for. But we should also expect a president to be the custodian of this democracy. We should expect that regardless of ego, ambition, or political beliefs, the president will preserve, protect, and defend the freedoms and ideals that so many Americans marched for, went to jail for, fought for, and died for. I have sat in the Oval Office with both of the men who are running for president. I never expected that my successor would embrace my vision or continue my policies. I did hope, for the sake of our country, that Donald Trump might show some interest in taking the job seriously, that he might come to feel the weight of the office and discover some reverence for the democracy that had been placed in his care. But he never did. For close to 4 years now, he has shown no interest in putting in the work, no interest in finding common ground, no interest in using the awesome power of his office to help anyone but himself and his friends. No interest in treating the presidency as anything but one more reality show that he can use to get the attention he craves. Donald Trump hasn't grown into the job because he can't. And the consequences of that failure are severe. 170,000 Americans dead. Millions of jobs gone, while those at the top take in more than ever. Our worst impulses unleashed, our proud reputation around the world badly diminished, and our democratic institutions threatened like never before. Now, I know that in times as polarized as these, most of you have already made up your mind. But maybe you're still not sure which candidate you'll vote for, or whether you'll vote at all. Maybe you're tired of the direction we're headed, but you can't see a better path yet, or you just don't know enough about the person who wants to lead us there. So let me tell you about my friend, Joe Biden. 12 years ago, when I began my search for a vice president, I didn't know I'd end up finding a brother. Joe and I come from different places, different generations, but what I quickly came to admire about Joe Biden is his resilience, born of too much struggle, his empathy, born of too much grief. Joe is a man who learned early on to treat every person he meets with respect and dignity, living by the words his parents taught him. No one's better than you, Joe, but you're better than nobody. That empathy, that decency, the belief that everybody counts, that's who Joe is. When he talks with someone who's lost her job, Joe remembers the night his father sat him down to say that he'd lost his. When Joe listens to a parent who's trying to hold it all together right now, he does it as a single dad who took the train back to Wilmington each and every night so he could tuck his kids into bed. When he meets with military families who've lost their hero, he does it as a kindred spirit, the parent of an American soldier. somebody whose faith has endured the hardest loss there is. For 8 years, Joe was the last one in the room whenever I faced a big decision. He made me a better president, and he's got the character and the experience to make us a better country. And in my friend Kamala Harris, he's chosen an ideal partner who is more than prepared for the job. Someone who knows what it's like to overcome barriers and who's made a career fighting to help others live out their own American dream. Along with the experience needed to get things done, Joe and Kamala have concrete policies that will turn their vision of a better, fairer, stronger country into reality. They will get this pandemic under control, like Joe did when he helped me manage H1N1 and prevent an Ebola outbreak from reaching our shores. They'll expand health care to more Americans, like Joe and I did 10 years ago, when he helped craft the Affordable Care Act and nail down the votes to make it the law. They'll rescue the economy, like Joe helped me do after the Great Recession. I asked him to manage the Recovery Act, which jump-started the longest stretch of job growth in history. And he sees this moment now, not as a chance to get back to where we were, but to make long overdue changes so that our economy actually makes life a little easier for everybody. Whether it's the waitress trying to raise a kid on her own, or the shift worker always on the edge of getting laid off, or the student figuring out how to pay for next semester's classes. Joe and Kamala will restore our standing in the world. And as we've learned from this pandemic, that matters. Joe knows the world, and the world knows him. He knows that our true strength comes from setting an example that the world wants to follow. A nation that stands with democracy, not dictators. A nation that can inspire and mobilize others to overcome threats like climate change and terrorism, poverty and disease. But more than anything, what I know about Joe, what I know about Kamala, is that they actually care about every American, and that they care deeply about this democracy. They believe that in a democracy, the right to vote is sacred, and we should be making it easier for people to cast their ballots, not harder. They believe that no one, including the president, is above the law, and that no public official, including the president, should use their office to enrich themselves or their supporters. They understand that in this democracy, the commander-in-chief does not use the men and women of our military who are willing to risk everything to protect our nation as political props to deploy against peaceful protesters on our own soil. They understand that political opponents aren't un-American just because they disagree with you. A free press isn't the enemy, but the way we hold officials accountable. That our ability to work together to solve big problems like a pandemic depend on a fidelity to facts and science and logic, and not just making stuff up. None of this should be controversial. These shouldn't be Republican principles or Democratic principles. They are American principles. But at this moment, this president and those who enable him have shown they don't believe in these things. Tonight, I'm asking you to believe in Joe and Kamala's ability to lead this country out of these dark times and build it back better. But here's the thing. No single American can fix this country alone, not even a president. Democracy was never meant to be transactional. You give me your vote, I make everything better. It requires an active and informed citizenry. So I'm also asking you to believe in your own ability to embrace your own responsibility as citizens, to make sure that the basic tenets of our democracy endure. Because that's what's at stake right now. Our democracy. Look, I understand why a lot of Americans are down on government. The way the rules have been set up and abused in Congress make it easier for special interests to stop progress than to make progress. Believe me, I know it. I understand why a white factory worker who's seen his wages cut or his job shipped overseas might feel like the government no longer looks out for him, and why a black mom might feel like it never looked out for her at all. I understand why a new immigrant might look around this country and wonder whether there's still a place for him here. Why a young person might look at politics right now, the circus of it all, the meanness and the lies and conspiracy theories, and think, what is the point? Well, here's the point. This president and those in power, those who benefit from keeping things the way they are counting on your cynicism. They know they can't win you over with their policies. So they're hoping to make it as hard as possible for you to vote and to convince you that your vote does not matter. That is how they win. That is how they get to keep making decisions that affect your life and the lives of the people you love. That's how the economy will keep getting skewed to the wealthy and well-connected. How our health systems will let more people fall through the cracks. That's how a democracy withers, until it's no democracy at all. And we cannot let that happen. Do not let them take away your power. Do not let them take away your democracy. Make a plan right now for how you are going to get involved and vote. Do it as early as you can and tell your family and friends how they can vote too. Do what Americans have done for over 2 centuries when faced with even tougher times than this. All those quiet heroes who found the courage to keep marching, keep pushing in the face of hardship and injustice. Last month, we lost a giant of American democracy in John Lewis. And some years ago, I sat down with John and a few remaining leaders of the early civil rights movement. One of them told me he never imagined he'd walk into the White House and see a president who looked like his grandson. And then he told me that he had looked it up. And it turned out that on the very day that I was born, he was marching into a jail cell, trying to end Jim Crow segregation in the South. What we do echoes through generations. Whatever our backgrounds, we are all the children of Americans who fought the good fight. Great-grandparents working in fire traps and sweatshops without rights or representation. Farmers losing their dreams to dust. Irish and Italians and Asians and Latinos told, go back where you come from. Jews and Catholics, Muslims and Sikhs made to feel suspect for the way they worshiped. Black Americans chained and whipped and hanged, spit on for trying to sit at lunch counters, beaten for trying to vote. If anyone had a right to believe that this democracy did not work and could not work, it was those Americans, our ancestors. They were on the receiving end of a democracy that had fallen short all their lives. They knew how far the daily reality of America strayed from the myth. And yet, instead of giving up, They joined together. And they said, somehow, some way, we are going to make this work. We are going to bring those words in our founding documents to life. I have seen that same spirit rising these past few years. Folks of every age and background who packed city centers and airports and rural roads so that families wouldn't be separated, so that another classroom wouldn't get shot up, so that our kids won't grow up on an uninhabitable planet. Americans of all races joining together to declare, in the face of injustice and brutality at the hands of the state, that Black lives matter. No more, but no less. So that no child in this country feels the continuing sting of racism. To the young people who led us this summer, telling us we need to be better, in so many ways, you are this country's dreams fulfilled. Earlier generations had to be persuaded that everyone has equal worth. For you, it's a given, a conviction. And what I want you to know is that for all its messiness and frustrations, your system of self-government can be harnessed to help you realize those convictions for all of us. You can give our democracy new meaning. You can take it to a better place. You're the missing ingredient. The ones who will decide whether or not America becomes the country that fully lives up to its creed. That work will continue long after this election. But any chance of success depends entirely on the outcome of this election. This administration has shown it will tear our democracy down if that's what it takes for them to win. So we have to get busy building it up by pouring all our efforts into these 76 days and by voting like never before for Joe and Kamala and candidates up and down the ticket so that we leave no doubt about what this country that we love stands for today and for all our days to come. Stay safe. God bless.
There was stupor at the beginning, and then came anger. There was a lot of anger. After that came solidarity, formidable solidarity of young people without any organizing committee or entity, and they started helping people clear their houses, helping people eating, helping people finding out about their beloved ones.
So we walk on the street, we just have a group on WhatsApp. We just say, okay, today let's go to this area. It looks really bad. Let's go help elderly people or people that lost their homes. We clean the rubble, we sort the glass, we sort the wood, we sort the aluminum. It's all young people trying to help, and we can't find anywhere the army or the police that are there to help us.
And nobody, not one responsible, not one official from the government stand or came to see any citizen and just to explain what happened. We have 200 casualties, we have 5,000 injured, we have all this destruction. So the people are really angry, and now they don't want this peaceful revolution anymore.
عنا شبابنا بيروحوا بيسافروا برا وبينجحوا، ليه بلدنا ما فيه يكون ناجح؟ قولوا لي، ليه بلدنا ما فيه يكون في عالم مستنيته مفتوح مش حرامية مش مجرمين 90 سنة ما شباب عم بعرفكم ما وعدكم خلاص
300,000 people are displaced now. Half of our city is blown up. A lot of people died in front of us. So for us, it's not about being peaceful anymore. It's about overthrowing a corrupt regime.
In the last hour, the government has announced that it is resigning.
Yesterday, the Prime Minister announced his government's resignation.
It sounds like a big change, but nothing actually changes.
The government's resignation doesn't mean anything because it has never been in a position of power anyway. All members of the government have been puppets to the parliaments, the member of the parliaments, and until we dissolve the parliament itself, there will be no change in this country whatsoever. Hassan Nasrallah, the president of the Republic, Michel Aoun, the speaker of the House, Nadia Berri. Before we lose these three people, there will be no change in Lebanon. We will go nowhere without protesting. We will go nowhere without showing the international community that we are fed up. The simple demands that we have is to get everything that every country that respects its people and itself considers vital, which is electricity, infrastructures, water. At this point, some people are ready to give their lives for this cause. Some people are dying anyway. So what can you say about a few tear gas canisters, about a few sticks, about a few shields? We don't care about that anymore. We're past that. We got over that a long time ago.
We are Lebanese. Lebanese are never scared. We've been through civil war and wars and so many hurdles. But now we are hoping that the next generation will have a real Lebanon, a free, independent, and prosperous Lebanon.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.
Smart Sound.
Good morning, everybody. Mark again here, Weather Channel Live. This is your Weather Channel content for today, Wednesday, August 19th. Sorry for the delay today. I actually was up late doing the other channel, as you know, my main channel, Weather Channel Plus. I went into in depth on these invests, all these tropical waves that we are having, and I don't find any hurricane strength. I don't find anything close to it. But I'll let them tell you what they say. They are the meteorologists. After that, I'm going to show you damage and winds, and I'm going to show you the cell track and show you exactly what goes on, because this one on 97L dies out or hurts only a little. 98L, when it's going towards Florida, that's what everybody really wants to know. I want to show you that. And then the new one really just does a whip up, but it does gain power and it gets pretty strong. But I'll show you after. God bless all of you today. I hope you have a great day. I will get my schedule better. And here we go.
And this morning, all eyes are on the Atlantic as the tropical wave train has come alive. 2 invests and a pretty high chance we're going to have a third invest, too, coming off of Africa right now that could impact land over the next 5 to 10 days. We will take a deep dive into these forecasts of each one of these invests in just a moment. All right, welcome to AMHQ on this Wednesday morning. Jim, Steph, and Jen all in house to get you ready for the day ahead. One that will be scorching hot for more than 45 million across the western part of the country. I mean, what's new, right? We tell you this may last right through the end of the month. And stormy for many in the southeast as the storms come back after a couple more stable days. Some storms could even turn severe, like what we saw in Florida on Tuesday. A possible tornado striking DeLand, Florida, just south of Orlando. Watch as this box truck, yeah, right there, gets tossed by the high winds on its side. He's okay. That's the good news. Large trees uprooted and debris scattered across roads and yards. The Red Cross will be back in the area this morning to help residents whose homes were damaged by the storm. And meteorologists from the National Weather Service in Melbourne will go out and survey the damage to see if this was actually a tornado or straight line winds. So we will see. All right, storminess of course, eluding Florida again today. Looks like we're going to have some sea breeze action once again, Steph.
Yeah, we are. And so let's talk about how bad it was yesterday and some of the observations that we saw. Edgewater, 70-mile-an-hour winds. Again, this is what Jim was talking about in DeLand. The Weather Service will go out and determine, was it a tornado or was it straight line winds? Because sometimes you can have damage that looks the same in different types of event, but just for technicality. I know it doesn't matter, if you've been through it, but for technicality here, we'll determine if it's a tornado or straight line winds. St. Augustine, we've had hail up to an inch, and we also had those winds all the way down to Patrick's Air Force Base up to 54 miles an hour. But as Jim mentioned, we could see them popping off again today. And there we go as we head into the afternoon hours. I-95, I-4, that drive, if you're doing it from Winter Haven to Kissimmee, Apopka, the villages all around here, we will have ample moisture, and warm, moist air is more buoyant than dry air. So it's going to rise on up and it's going to squeeze on out. There's also a teeny little boundary here, and we've been dealing with a boundary throughout the south. That is going to give us some more storms because it's a lifting mechanism. And even over Florida, a little bit of a trough, so you have a front like this, right? And then when I say there's some troughiness, it's really drawn kind of like this. And so essentially this is a pre-front. So this is when a front is still getting its act together, just kind of has troughiness, but it's still lifting. So things are lifting right now. Sarasota, you guys are getting cream. Tampa, down towards Port Charlotte. Of course, Port Charlotte, memorable for Charlie that came through in 2004 as a Category 4 hurricane. Sarasota, you're seeing a lot of showers and thunderstorms, very heavy rainfall right now outside the door. And that's going to basically cover Florida here as we head into the afternoon hours. So the good news is everything is moving from southwest to northeast. So nothing's too stagnant, Jen. So, we're not, obviously you'll get some flooding, but thankfully they're moving.
Yeah, but the problem is, what if you get a couple of them and then it really adds up in your rain gauge? Across the southeast, looks good for now, but rounds of rain and storms stretching from the mid-Atlantic into the southeast. Some cities like Greensboro, Columbia, South Carolina, and Macon, Georgia. Also, you need to get ready for a soaker for the second half of the week. Flash flooding is possible with some of these downpours. Jim, we had a couple of days of dew points in the low 60s, kind of had that little bit of pumpkin spiceness, feel to the air. We're in summer. We're still in summer.
We are still very much into summer, ladies and gentlemen. I've had humid November weekends, even in northern Georgia in the mountains. So trust me, we got a long way to go. But let's talk about this because we have an upper trough to our west, okay? And that is kind of sitting in this position here. It's really digging. And Steph's going to talk about how that may impact 97L coming up in just a second. But being on the east side of this means that is the ascent area of the trough, the rising air motion of the trough. So we're going to have showers and thunderstorms possible today. Some of these will go severe. Some of them won't. Some of you won't have a drop of rain. That's why they call it summer, right? So here's the front this morning, and the dew points have really come back strong all the way up into Tennessee for that matter. And there's some renegade showers and thunderstorms already going on this morning. Look at this action around Williamsport and Southport. This is the area that was so hard hit, obviously, by Isaias, and it is getting hammered this morning with some rainfall. Myrtle Beach getting some rain as well. Now, the model is not going to pick up on every little detail, but it kind of has this stuff in that vicinity, right? Doesn't have much in North Georgia that's going on. But here's the deal that I want you to watch is what happens during the day when we get to that convective temperature. Right there around 1, 2 o'clock, here go the storms. Boom, 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 boom. Not a lot of upper level winds. Even though we're on the east side of a trough, all the winds are on the west side of it. All right, so these aren't going to move very, very quickly. They're going to have to rain themselves out. So don't be surprised if some of you actually get a flash flood warning in all of this. So that trough, does it influence a very unorganized 97L? And what does 97L become as it moves west? Let's talk to Steph.
A lot of questions. And that trough could do a couple different things to the system. It could shear it out more, but regardless, could still pull some of its moisture up into the south. Let's first talk about what we have here. It is moving west at 17 miles an hour. And notice we do have the convection. What's going on right here? Dry air. And of course, dry air and tropical entities, they don't mix very well. And so that's one of the things that is stopping this from developing. Now, there's still an 80% chance here of development as it moves over the next 5 days as it continues west, but it's going to have trouble trying to get through this dry air. You see, there's really no center of circulation, and that is key, that our models have a really tough time until you have that center of circulation. They struggle. And that's a fact. Now, it's got the water temperatures, check. You need them at 80 degrees or higher. We've got that here with no problem. But that dry air aloft is crushing this. Though, notice all this moisture here. This is going to try to get wrapped into it and help this system as our high pressure pushes it westbound. Jim mentioned this trough. Okay, a couple things. Now, we don't just look at the hurricane, actually, when we're trying to forecast. We look around it, because that's what influences it. So is this trough still strong? If it is, it could shear this thing apart. It could also shear it apart, but still bring its moisture up into the southeast or into Florida. Does this shrink back and give us a little window of opportunity? It absolutely could. And so this is just why we want you guys to start paying attention to this, because if it has that little window of opportunity, Jim, in the Gulf of Mexico with 80, 90-degree temperatures and little shear, it could pop and it could pop fast. But on the other end of the spectrum, if that trough is just too big and too strong, it could eat it up.
Yeah, there's still so many unanswered questions, really. And we could go from having nothing as we head into the latter part of the weekend and early next week to having 2 landfalling hurricanes. I mean, either scenario is not out of the question. 98L, of course, would be the other participant in that equation. It looks like it's trying to get itself a little bit better organized on the western end of what is really kind of an east-west convergent line, all right, where the trade winds meet the southern winds coming out of the southern hemisphere. And you can certainly see as this moves on off toward the west, that 90% chance. All right, so here's that convergent line, that trough. It kind of goes northeast to southwest like this. It looks like the western end of this has the most convection right now, and it's persistent. So does that take over as we go on in time as the main low eventually? Maybe, but it's not yet. It's still very, very disorganized, okay? It, too, has to go west. Looking at the global models, neither one of them do anything with it, but they will bring impacts into the islands. There's no question about that. The big question is, do we have a tropical storm coming into the picture here, or just north of the islands, or do we have just this open wave with a lot of showers and thunderstorms? And from that point on, then it gets fun, all right, because it's still going to have to track off toward the west. Does it eventually try to develop once it gets near Cuba or past Puerto Rico? Some of the high-resolution models actually go crazy with this thing. So it's worth watching. It's that time of the year that we have to watch it. Do we have 97L already somewhere in the Gulf or just coming in, and then 98L coming in? That's why I was saying we could have anything from a couple of open waves here in the Gulf to maybe 2 hurricanes landfalling very, very close to each other. So we have to watch this, especially this time of the year, as it moves off to the west. A lot of the guidance, again, has pretty much kind of stuck with this area. Then there's certainly some divergence that goes on. But again, guys, I caution all of you, until we have an entity, a low, both with 97L and 98L, it's very hard to get confidence in modeling this too far out. Jen, over to you.
Chris, this bubble scenario, and you and I just arriving here a couple of days ago, inside.
Melo, Dame Dollar, and others are, but you need the others to show up in the first few plays of the game. You have to like his effort.
Melo knocks down the jumper. Don't feel like an 8 seed. They have basically 3 new players that are familiar with the operation, but new to the Blazers after the shutdown. As such an incredible run through the playoffs, taking the Blazers to the Western Conference Finals. And Davis comes up short on the run. Gabriel throws it down. Thumb injury. He's back. He's made it through quarantine. Frank Vogel said he is available to return at some point. Out tonight, but soon. Nurkic goes inside. And you know what I'm watching for the Blazers here tonight? Their assist numbers. They've been up here in the seeding games. LeBron goes strong. Count it. LeBron coaches. I talk about Terry Stotts as a defensive-minded coach. He was that as Rick Carlisle's assistant. As Nurkic again.
Great help side right there by Whiteside. That's his job, ushering the defense.
Nice find.
How they're going to get it, because they just certainly haven't been as motivated as some of these other teams. Down the middle goes AC, the Caruso.
Won a game in the playoffs since 2012. They were swept in 13. Here's LeBron, high off the window. Nice finish by LeBron.
30 points on 53% in the playoffs. And don't forget 13 rebounds with it. So we talk about a lot of...
And LeBron clears it away. Lakers down 11. LeBron, a spin. LeBron with a finish. Woo! Wow. Caruso, patient. Hazonia trying to check LeBron James. Look at that pass all the way across court. Danny Green sticks the 3. What a...
LeBron's such a willing passer.
C.J. McCollum. It's an 11-1 Laker run. Up ahead. Beautiful touch out to Howard. Boy, Howard and Nurkic are really swapping paint right now. They are banging every possession, it seems.
Oh, yeah. Nurkic is grabbing the left side of his face. It's Kuzma.
Finally secures it. Here come the Blazers. Lillard left wide open, bodies on the floor, and Damian Lillard. Oh, so good, draws the double. Oh, somehow got it on the rim, unable to convert. Lakers have a chance to take the lead now. Down a point, nice find by LeBron. Shooting the ball in this second quarter. Most of their points coming from the line. 13, as a matter of fact. Inside, Davis. Oh, he got
Portland may have to switch up and go back to that zone a little bit, not let the offense of the Lakers know it's coming.
McCollum has been quiet, but knocks that one down. Needed that. One big game in him. Deion Waiters is always ready to score. Lillard finding Melo. Spot up three. The catch and shoot is good. Out. Had a good run with Indiana. 5 out of 6 years. Took the Pacers to the playoffs. Shifty dribbling by C.J. McCollum, and it rattles home.
Kept the defender on his back so you couldn't get around, and he let them kind of zone him up, waiting for his offense to get open.
McCollum, little runner in the lane. Nice. Harry Stotts making an adjustment in game here. 8-point Portland lead. Lakers down. Danny Green for three. Man, just laced it up.
Be aggressive and get some other guys involved.
Lillard. And that was partially blocked by Davis. And look at him run on the floor. Anthony Davis. Defense turning it in. Lost the handle. And now got to go. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Damian Lillard looking for someone. Finds McCollum. Pow. Buries a three.
Like watching Joe D and Isaiah Thomas kind of cutting, getting each other involved in the game. Such a pretty pass. Dame Lillard to his partner, CJ.
11 in the quarter for McCollum. Kuzma checks Lillard. Double team comes. Bullet pass inside. Whiteside. Patient. Two-handed.
Wants him to take.
Left him wide open. Caruso comes from behind. He swipes Lillard. Caruso to Davis. Davis hammers it home. Under a minute to go in the third quarter. Morris on the drive. Morris taking on the traffic and one.
Percentage, you have to put the pressure on.
Lillard with the assist. He has just 2 points in this third quarter. Give it right back to LeBron. Gary Trent Jr., second-year player out of Duke, trying to check LeBron. Kuzma hits a three with a hand in his face. From a basketball sense, the ability to get Collins back after shoulder surgery, to get Nurkic back after that gruesome leg injury last March. LeBron on the run out. And the Lakers back on the floor for Portland. He's played only 3 minutes in this quarter. Trent hits the side of the backboard. The third time we've seen that happen in this game. Kuzma on the attack, taking on Gabriel. Oh, Kuzma finishes strong. Damian Lillard finds Nurkic. Back on the floor now, Nurkic. On the floor. Gabriel. Here's Lillard now for three. And Damian Lillard with his first points of the second half.
C.J. McCollum trying to work on Caruso, who's staying with him. McCollum, boy, this is a tough shot. What a tough shot by McCollum.
Patience right there. The shot blocking, waiting for the shot blocker to fly by. Looked at the clock, stepped behind the line.
LeBron James. Oh, we hit the air. They've led most of this game. At one point had a 16-point lead in the second quarter early. McCollum can't shake Caruso. Fires it anyway. In. Under 6 to go. Lillard, long three is up and in.
Come on.
Damian Lillard. Whiteside just now getting into the picture. Danny Green on McCollum. McCollum got it. Boy.
All the way, Danny Green, we just saw that. I don't know how it happened.
Can't have that much spacing. You know why? They don't have many three-point shooters. Like that! Like that!
Damian Lillard.
Kuzma stayed on that side to give LeBron help. We call that zoning up the weak side.
Nurkic back on the floor. Give it to Carmelo Anthony for three. He's got it. A couple of big three-pointers made. Danny Green trying to answer. Follow won't go. LeBron James. Davis on him. Nice pass. Nurkic got to get one up. And Danny Green. Excellent defense by Green and the Lakers. LeBron up ahead. Davis taps it to himself and finishes.
Why they set the pick so Kuzma would switch out. Now you got passes around the perimeter.
Trent Jr. for three. He's got it. The threes are falling big time here in the fourth. Wow, what a ball game. Just when you thought the Blazers running roughshod with all of that action, Nurkic hammers one home. And the Blazers, players with 5 fouls. Terry Stotts navigating, managing this one beautifully down the stretch. Lillard and McCollum come alive And for the second time today, the 8 seed wins game 1. The Portland Trailblazers, a 7-point victory over the Lakers in game 1, despite an historic effort from LeBron.
So guys, this is the game I've been looking forward to for such a long time. Flight Simulator 2020. The game officially comes out on the 18th of August, I believe. I'm playing it a little bit early, thanks to Microsoft for the code. I'm just so excited. But I'm definitely a novice, so we're going to start with the basics. The base tutorials, we're going to learn the game together. There's activities, challenging landings to do. You can set your own flight plans. There seems to be some live events as well going on, so yeah, there's so much to this game. There's so many aircrafts, so many airports, and the whole world to explore. It's a crazy game, but I cannot wait to check it out. If you guys could be awesome, leave your likes and comments below. I would love to turn this into like a series, lots of videos. I don't know how it's going to go, to be honest, this first video. I've got no idea. It's a very different game. I'm playing with the Xbox One controller and the keyboard, sort of combined, I guess. I do want to get like a simulator set up. But anyway, we'll talk about that later on. Let's begin our flight training. Start from the very basics. In this video, I want to do a takeoff, a landing. How many tutorials are there? I think there's only, yeah, so there's 8 tutorials. This does seem to cover most of the basics, so I'm happy with that. Let's start with the first one. Oh, I'm actually nervous. I'm proper nervous. Wow. Oh man, it's cockpit.
I'm your instructor, Captain Molina, but you can just call me Jess. This session, we'll get started with some basic controls. Sound good?
Sounds great. Let's do it.
First things first, let's get familiar with your surroundings. Don't worry, I've got the stick while you get your bearings. Out your side windows, you can see we have great visibility over Sedona today.
We really do. Is it Sidonia, did she say? Anyway, so D-pads to look around.
Beautiful, isn't it?
It really is. Wow. I want to go here right now. So you can use the left, right, up and down to transition around the cockpit wherever you see fit, which is quite useful. Also, you can reset. I prefer to like scroll out, have a slightly better view there. There you go. Sit back in my chair, basically. I'm a tall guy, all right? Reset. Yeah. So you can do custom views if you want to. So you can custom angles in the plane. Do I need to do that to continue? I think we're good. Yep. I am good. I'm happy. Control 1. Let's try that. Control 1. Alt 1.
See if you
there we
can
go.
spot the Sedona Airport. The runway should be a pretty easy landmark to find.
I think I can see it already, actually. On that hill.
There you go.
There we go.
Visual
Yep.
confirmation on the airport.
I see it. See the flashing light?
Now that we're oriented, it's your turn.
Woo!
Time to
Really?
fly this bird.
You sure?
The first control on our training list
Oh
is
man.
the yoke.
Oh man.
I still remember my first instructor saying the yoke is like a steering wheel. Almost. Sure, you can turn, but you can also pitch.
Oh, look at that.
It controls the ailerons. And the ailerons, they allow the plane to roll and bank into turns. Go ahead and try rolling to the right.
Rolling to the right. Got it. Slight roll.
Nice. Now let's
Nice and
see
easy.
level back out.
There we go. It's pretty level, right? I hope. Yep. Done. I'm doing good.
Of course, the yoke also controls the elevator. And the elevator affects the plane's pitch, right? Pull back on the stick, the plane starts to climb.
Yep.
Give
I
it
see
a
that.
shot.
See the yoke slightly being pushed towards
In
me.
aviation are speed and altitude. pitching up, your speed is decreasing.
Yeah, I see that.
You could add more power. Or for now, let's just pitch down.
Woo!
Just
Gently
like
push
that,
down, there we
your
go.
speed's picking up again as the nose pitches down.
I'm
As
learning
you
the
level back out,
basics.
let's talk about another control, the rudders at your feet.
Rudders by my feet. Should we have a look?
Rudder pedals control the aircraft's side-to-side movement, also known as yaw. On the ground, those pedals are going to steer the plane left or right. Up here, they properly align us during turns. Try them out and watch the plane's nose skew to either side.
Let's have a look. So I think that, yeah, so the rudders, left trigger and right trigger. Got it. Ooh.
Simple enough, right?
Ooh, ooh. Maybe a little bit too much.
Let's bring the plane back to straight up flight.
There you go.
Make sure your dashboard is aligned 3 to 4 inches below the horizon for a cruise attitude.
Okay, so the horizon is that brown on the dial. Yeah, so it basically shows the level. The sky is the sky. The ground is the brown bit. Straighten up. Alright, there we
Okay,
go.
the
There
last
we
thing
go.
we're going to
Perfect.
cover now is the throttle. If you have the need for speed, then
I
the
do.
throttle's for you. Full control over
I love
the power
speeds.
output of the engine.
So I believe the
Let's see
throttle
what
is
happens
here.
when you cut all the power.
Oh, are you sure? Alright. I call it. It's gone. I've got no power.
Surprise, surprise. Our altitude is decreasing.
Can I turn the power back on, please?
This might be a good time for a piloting PSA. Always keep an eye on your surroundings, because nobody likes a low-flying duck. Alright, let's go ahead and throttle back up.
Got it. Oh, there we go. Oh, I did not enjoy that. I did not like that. That was horrible.
There you go. Speed is increasing, and as long as we maintain the same attitude, our altitude will keep climbing too.
Oh, yeah.
You're really getting the hang of your controls.
Thank you.
Before long, you won't even need a co-pilot.
Oh, yeah. She knows it.
Until
I
then,
love this. This
if
is
you want
awesome.
help with the radio or checklists or simply flying the plane, I'll be here. You can pass me the controls when you're ready to finish your session, or keep flying. It is a great day after all.
It is a great day. I think we're going to move on. Conditions are pretty much perfect here. I'm not going to lie. The wind, it's perfection. Great view, but we're going to move on to the next tutorial. So Control Alt X. Done.
All right, I have control. Good job.
I'm ready to learn more. I just can't believe how crisp the cockpit is. Every little detail. Feels like I'm physically there. That was incredible. What an incredible experience. I love that. Just guess does it time it? Oh, okay, cool. Next one. Let's keep going. So this is altitude and instruments. So that was the very basics of flying a plane. As you guys, I'm sure you guys know, you can do jumbo jets as well in this. So Boeing 747s, for example. I think I've seen the Dreamliners in this game. This is at the starter plane. There is so much to this game. Right, we're back.
Today we're talking about attitudes of flight, how your plane is oriented relative to the horizon. If you look outside, you can see the cockpit is just about 4 inches below the horizon line. We're flying straight with a decent rate of speed. This is the cruise attitude. Let's see how it reads on your instruments.
So Control 1. Okay, cool. Let's do that.
Take a look at the attitude indicator.
Yep.
As the name implies, it shows your current attitude. The white line is the horizon, with the sky above and the ground below.
Yeah, so like I said, the brown is
In the middle,
the
aligned
ground.
with the horizon, that's your plane. Just like we saw outside, our current attitude reads pretty much straight and level. Okay, now let's see how much power the engine's generating. Check your tachometer.
Let's have a look.
Looks like we're pushing around 2,300 revolutions per minute.
Oh yeah, so yeah, 23 over there.
Combined, attitude and engine RPMs translate to aircraft performance.
So yeah, just about 23 is that?
Which leads us to your airspeed indicator.
Over here.
Now, last
At
but not
90?
least, check your altimeter. To figure out your altitude, you always want to read the small needle first. That's how many thousands of feet up you are. Then on to the big needle for the hundreds.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. Yep, I get it.
With our current attitude and power output, we're holding a speed of 90 knots and a stable altitude of 6,000 feet.
So yeah, 6,000. Okay.
But that's about to change. Take the stick
Is
when
it?
you're ready.
Why? Why is it about to change? We are now taking control.
Pull back slightly on the yoke to raise the nose just above the horizon line.
Yep.
About 2 inches. Make sure you don't pitch up too much, or the angle will be too steep to create lift. And without enough lift, we'll stall. Alright, go full throttle and start climbing.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Full throttle control 100%.
Welcome to the climb attitude. See how it shows up on your attitude indicator and tachometer? According to your altimeter, we're gaining altitude. But we're losing airspeed even at full throttle, proving you can't avoid basic physics while making a climb. Okay, before we go on, let's get back to a cruise attitude. Ease up on the yoke and aim your nose just below the horizon. Then throttle back down to 2,300 RPMs.
Okay, so drop down. Let's try and drop the power eventually as well. So we're good on that front. So bring this to just below the horizon.
Nice job.
There we go,
We're
perfect.
now set up
Done.
with the same attitude and power we had at the top of our lesson.
Good.
Next up is the descent attitude.
Plane is loud.
Reducing your RPMs to 1,800.
1,800,
Then
got it.
drop the plane's nose a bit further below the horizon.
Let's try and bring down the power a little bit. Don't know how much you need to bring it down by. 40%. And just start to bring it. There we go.
With a nose down attitude, our altitude is decreasing while
It
our
is.
speed is picking up.
Can confirm.
Why don't you get us back to a cruise attitude and we'll hit the last part of our lesson.
Let's bring back the power a little bit. How much
There we
percent was
go.
it?
Now that
Done
we know how
already.
to cruise, climb, and descend, let's talk about the turn attitude. Gently pull the yoke left or right to start rolling the plane.
There you go.
If you take a look outside, you can see how our attitude's changed, but you can also check your instruments for the details. As a general rule, you always want to keep your turns under 30 degrees.
You don't want to do anything too
At the top
abrupt.
of your attitude indicator, there's
For
a
obvious
series
reasons.
of notches representing 10 degrees each. Use them to control your roll. Notice the more you turn, the more you need to pull back on the yoke to maintain altitude. When you're rolling out, you'll need to do the opposite. Roll and push at the same time. The more you know about the main attitudes of flight, the closer you get to that pilot state of mind. So keep practicing, and whenever you're done, pass me the controls.
I think I'm fairly happy. Still learning those basics. Again, I cannot get over just how... Look at that view. This is on a nice, like, sort of cruising speed. Ideally, it's not perfect probably, I need to do a few adjustments, but we're going at a decent speed. Don't really want to touch the controls too much. So keep it nice and steady. Just want to go at like a decent speed, not too quick. Just trying to perfectly angle the plane and maintain, basically. That's what you want to do.
Thanks, I've got control now.
Thank you. We done it. Progressing pretty well. It's all about managing that power. I know it's probably tempting to just have 100% the whole time, But normally if you're 100% throttle, you're going to be going up or down, or it's just going to be hard to sort of even it out. You know, nice, even plane. But now we get into the juicy stuff, the takeoffs and the landings. I guarantee I screw up the landing. It's going to happen, 100%. We know it. I'm ready to fly.
There's an old saying I like. A mile of road will take you a mile. A mile of runway will take you anywhere.
I like that.
Taking off isn't hard, but there are a few key points to remember.
Okay.
First, we always take off into the wind, which won't be an issue on a calm day like today. Second, before we enter a runway, we always make sure it's clear.
Parking brake has been disengaged. Focused on the runway. It looks clear.
Good, no cross traffic. Go ahead and taxi into position.
So we're gonna need a bit of throttle, right?
Should make steering the plane pretty easy.
Bit of power. Did it need a bit more power than that? There we go. And use the rudders to turn. So I play GTA, it's all good. I know what I'm doing. And I guess we slam the brake on. See,
All right, let's
there we
do
go.
this. Apply full power and I'll walk you through the takeoff.
Full power? Are you sure? Okay, fine. There we go. Full power, baby.
Use your rudders to stay on the center line and keep pushing power until you reach 55 knots.
So you choose this center line over here. Accelerate to 55 knots.
Good. Now gently pull back on the yoke.
Woo!
Line up the top of your instrument panel so it's a couple inches above the horizon. That'll pitch us up and set a good climb attitude.
Gently pulling up. 100% throttle.
And we're airborne.
Yeah, baby.
Focused on flying straight.
Yeah.
Use your rudders to keep the runway heading of 210 degrees. Maintain 75 knots, and we'll reach our target altitude of 5,500 feet in no time.
21 degrees. See that instrument on the windscreen? I think that is the degrees. I think. A slight bit of editing with the positioning of the plane. Seems to be fairly okay though. So, the sound is unreal. Still climbing. So almost at where we need to be. There we go. Very good.
5,500
Oh,
feet
yeah.
is a nice, safe altitude for part 2 of our lesson. Straight and level flight. First step here is adjusting our attitude. We're in a cruise attitude, pushing max power. To stay level at our target altitude, let's start by easing the throttle back to 1,800 RPMs.
1800, got it. Was that about 80% last time when we did that? Or a bit less? Slow it down a bit more. Tiny bit more. Bit more. There we go.
Probably noticed, to maintain altitude, you need to pitch the nose up. You could just keep pulling on the yoke to hold steady, but that's not really a precise means of control. Probably better to adjust your trim wheel until you don't need to push or pull on the yoke. Drag the trim down when you need to set the nose up. Drag it up to set the nose down. Try adding trim to keep us at 5,500 feet without increasing throttle. If you feel our pitch slipping and need to get back to the proper attitude, don't worry. Just pull on the yoke, then dial in the right trim. The way I was taught, when you adjust the trim, you make rough changes at first to remove pressure on the yoke. small adjustments to find the perfect setting to keep your desired attitude. That's the key to straight and level flight. It saves you from constantly pushing or pulling on the yoke. And that gives you more time to enjoy the ride. If you want more practice using the trim, go for it. Whenever you're ready to pass the controls, I'll be here.
I think I fairly got that in the end. Took me a little while to work it out, but once I got to the desired altitude and I just edged the trim a little bit, it seemed to even out quite a bit. There's also the drone camera, I think, as well. Is that it? That's the drone camera. Look at that. Oh, I'm in love with this game. I've got so much to learn, of course, but I am in love. In love. I'm climbing a little bit now. So it's definitely not perfect, but it's pretty much evened itself out. The altitude's not changing too much. Look at that view though. Anyway, let's end this. And this will now be the hardest part. Landing the plane. Oh my god. Oh no. I'm so nervous. I've got to actually land it. That took me far too long, that, just to get the trim right. But at least I spent a bit of time with it. I managed to learn it. Got it to work. But that's really important. So you don't want to be editing the yoke all the time. You want to just even the plane out, using the trim, keep it nice and steady. Yeah. Otherwise it gets a bit annoying because the flights can be quite long, as you guys know. You don't want to be using the yoke all the time. And the yoke is definitely, it's quite brutal. It's like either up or down. There's no like fine margins, so that's where the trim comes in as well. I am pooping myself.
My first instructor used to say the best part of flying is landing in one piece. The man was a terminal pessimist, but he wasn't wrong. Today, you're in charge of bringing us in for a safe landing.
I see it.
We got clearance for a straight-in approach, so we don't have to complete the standard traffic pattern. And I've already set us up in landing configuration at 65 knots with 10 degrees of flaps and idle power. We're on the glide slope now. Maintain speed around 65 knots. Change your pitch if you need to, and keep your aim point on the runway number. When you're targeting the runway number, you want to keep it steady in your sights.
So I'll try and maintain 65 knots.
You're coming in low. You'll need to add a bit more throttle to get back on the slope. If it looks like the number's moving down in your windscreen, well, then you're too high. You'll need to add flaps to increase your rate of descent, but you'll also need to push forward and trim to change your attitude and maintain the same speed.
Right, flaps. Did mention trim there as well. Trim is still 0.3. It might be okay. Oh wow, we are slowing down now. Woo! Slowing right down. Should I put some power in? I'm pretty sure we're at 0 power, yep. 0 throttle control. This is nerve-wracking. This is horrible. This is definitely the worst part of flying. Also the best bit. If you nail it, it's gonna feel so good. I know it is. I know it is. It's a line a bit better.
Keep your aim point on the runway threshold. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare. Once we pass the threshold, shift your aim point to the end of the runway. Then, pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it.
My first landing, guys, is about to go down. I hope I'm not too low. Fuck, I might be a bit low right now. No.
Okay, we're past the threshold. Start the flare. Keep pulling back slowly. Let the plane settle onto the runway.
Whoa!
Don't push it down, but don't let it start climbing.
Ooh, that was getting a bit juicy.
Now apply the brakes to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop.
That was terrifying. That was not a smooth first landing. Oh, what did I do? Right, bring it to a stop. Wow, that was terrifying.
Great job. As they say, any landing you can walk away from is a good landing. But if you can use the plane the next day, it's outstanding. Landings can be hard, even for seasoned pilots. Trust me, don't hesitate to practice. After all, that's what we're here for, right?
Right, I want to do that one again. Should we do it again? At least I landed. The plane isn't split in half. We're alive. She made a good point. We're going to restart it, though. We're going to give it another go. Whew. That was nerve-wracking. It's not even a real plane. Just looks so real, though. It's terrifying. Any sort of constructive criticism as well? Things I can do, let me know. I'm all about the learning. I want to, yeah. I've never flown a plane before, and I've never played a flight sim before, so I am as novice as you can get, probably. Flaps are back out again. Trim, I think should be okay. Woo! Coming in a bit higher here, I think, this time. This is so nerve-wracking, man. Honestly, I still can't get over the cockpit. It looks so real. It's like, what is going on? An incredible detailed game. Incredibly detailed. Coming nice and steady. Nice and steady. Just want this to be a slightly better landing. I was so close to hitting those trees. There's no reason for that. I had to pull the power back on. I might have been okay. I might be okay. I'll have to watch it back, actually.
Keep your aim point on the runway threshold. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare. Once we pass the threshold, shift your aim point to the end of the runway. Then, pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it.
This feels pretty good. Wouldn't say I'm perfectly in line with the runway, but should be okay. Still going down at a nice steady rate.
Okay, we're past the threshold. Start the flare. Keep pulling back slowly. Let the plane settle onto the runway. Don't push it down, but don't let it start climbing.
Ooh, was that better? I don't know. Not bad.
Apply the brakes to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop.
Oh man, done a bit more of a flare there, I think. We good?
Great job.
Yeah.
As they say, any landing you can walk away from is a good landing. But if you can use the plane the next day, it's outstanding. Landings can be hard, even for seasoned pilots. Trust me, don't hesitate to practice. After all, that's what we're here for, right?
One absolute genius of a game. I love it. So that's going to conclude this episode. I had so much fun. I really hope this video does well. I hope so. I don't know, see if we're going to completely bomb or do really well. I have no idea where it's going to sit. Had a lot of fun with it though. The next tutorial will be traffic patterns. We'll do all 4 of these, I reckon. First solo flight. This might be quite a long one actually. Navigation and first solo navigation. So it's all about obviously traveling the world and not getting lost, ideally. Got to worry about weather, fuel, wind. There's so much to worry about. Air traffic, of course. Yeah. Fingers crossed this does well. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys could be awesome as always, leave your likes, leave your comments. Again, thank you to Microsoft who sent me a code early. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Peace.